Greetings, fellow showerers and showerees. I'm Dr. Steph, and I did my PhD on a history of showers. In my thesis, I reveal how showers, an everyday object that people use to clean and preen their bodies, are part of big picture systems that govern our lives. Today, we're going to discover the history of private showers in private spaces and the idea of showering as an essential daily activity. While showering is something many of us take for granted, it has a fascinating, forgotten history connected to governing populations through changing ideas of health, housing, class, sex, and the family unit. Showers are a familiar part of the bathroom landscape. However, as we discussed in episodes 1 and 2, the earliest manufactured showers were not the private activity they are today. The first warm water hygiene showers were for groups, such as soldiers, miners, or prisoners, and were designed so that the showeree could be watched. By using the ideas of French philosopher Michel Foucault to explore history, we can see how the shower became a thinkable thing, initially to cure mania, then to promote population health, and then eventually an actor in a daily activity we carry out as part of our private lives. In this episode, we will explore a period of radical change in the design and use of the shower that was the product of changing ideas regarding population health, class, gender, and warm water during the late 19th and early 20th century, which led to the creation of the private shower within private bathrooms. Today, we shower to wash. However, as discussed in episode 1, cold water poured unexpectedly and for extended periods of time onto the head was an important therapy to treat mania in the early 1800s. Pouring water over the body started as a medical practice from the forgotten science of hydropathy, which used water to treat a range of ailments. Hydropathists made substantial claims for the therapeutic effects of water. While it might seem strange to us now, the general population avoided drinking and washing with water in the early 1800s. Physicians such as Claridge in 1842 argued that by drinking water and washing with cold water, we could ward off disease and even the signs of aging. To one accustomed to hydropathy, it is exceedingly painful to see the numbers of old and young who pass him in the streets at every turn with stiffened joints, a dull eye, thickness of breathing, an unnatural tendency to corpulency, wrinkles, baldness, bad sight, and sallowness of complexion. These failings clearly indicate an habitual distaste for water, and the observer regrets the total ignorance which prevails as to the fact that in many of these cases, the mere drinking plentifully of water and washing of the body at least once a day would relieve these individuals of their diseases. Nay, more, if they had always been accustomed to this element, it might have warded those diseases off altogether. People were encouraged to learn about and use hydropathy within their own homes. For example, Mrs. Smedley's 1873 Ladies' Manual of Practical Hydropathy suggests cold water douches for stimulating and strengthening and to treat rheumatism. And Hunter's 1878 Hydropathy for Home Use, which claimed douches could improve circulation and rouse dormant energies. The 1800s were a time of great change in medical thought. In his book, Birth of the Clinic, Foucault explains how changes in technology, such as the development of microscopes, meant that at this time, disease became connected to the visible structures of the body rather than ethereal things such as humours, vapours, or sins. As such, the focus of diagnosis and treatment shifted to locating disease within a body part. This is a practice that continues to dominate Western medicine today. Practitioners of hydropathy describe the therapeutic operations of water as many and varied, and numerous ways of applying water to the body emerged. The mechanism by which water had an effect was debated. Some suggested it had an effect on inflammation, an idea we maintain today when we put ice on an injury, while others, such as Claridge, thought the cold water douche, being the French word used at the time for shower, could move humours and have a strengthening effect. The douche, but of all the means employed, is the most powerful in moving the bad humours and disturbing them from the position which they may have occupied for years. They are also used in a great number of chronic diseases. The douche corrects the weakness which the skin may have contracted in the process of sweating and also fortifies it. It hardens the body and renders it capable of supporting all variations in the atmosphere. It exercises a powerful action upon the muscles and nervous system by the reaction which it provokes. In addition to the general effects that cold water was proposed to have, hydropathists proposed that water could be directed at specific sites of the body for a specific medical complaint, such as water poured on the head for mania, or directed at the abdomen for digestive issues. Claridge suggested pouring water over the body could have a general strengthening effect on the skin, counteracting the supposed weakening effect of sweating. As discussed in episode 2, the skin was initially thought to be a respiratory organ, which prompted an interest in cleanliness to clean the pores. However, towards the end of the 1800s, this idea was abandoned in favour of washing the skin with warm water to prevent contagious diseases. Despite the wide range of proposed benefits, the coldness of the hydropathic shower was considered dangerous to all but those in good health with strong constitutions, and the idea of hydropathy fell out of fashion. However, the health-giving benefits of water were not forgotten, and the luxury of the personal warm shower, experienced first by tourists and travellers, meant that the fall of water continued. While readers of home hydropathy books in good health with strong constitutions may have been able to benefit from cold water hydropathy in their own homes, those who could afford it also had the option of hydropathic hot water treatments supplied by nature. In pre-colonial times, indigenous populations made use of natural hot water springs for health. Through colonisation, many of these natural resources were privatised and converted into commercial ventures in the 1800s. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, health-seeking tourists who could afford the travel and entry fees to privatised springs could enjoy nature's cure. As well as soaking in the hot water, therapeutic effects could be applied through a private shower or the air massage douche. The idea, not entirely abandoned, was that there were health-giving properties of warm water that could be extracted from these natural springs. As discussed in episode 2, a discourse of washing the skin for the benefit of cleanliness for confined populations such as soldiers and prisoners was emerging in the late 1800s. However, showers that were produced for hydropathy, such as the air massage douche, were not designed for washing. In today's terms, it might be as strange to take a hydropathic shower to wash one's skin as it would be today to take a pill to do the same. However, cleanliness was important, and being dirty could exclude one from good society. What constitutes a gentleman? Of the principal qualifications, two are absolutely necessary, viz. Courtesy and honour, and these may be possessed by all. Then comes manners and education, which qualify for good society, and rank and wealth for those who seek to move into the highest classes. The characteristics fatal to the claim to be considered a gentleman are impudence, self-conceit, falsity, want of cleanliness, and filthy language. Nothing in dress beyond neatness and cleanliness is required. From the mid-1800s, private bathing rooms with showers for washing in appeared in barbers' shops and hairdressers, hotels and bathing establishments in Aotearoa, New Zealand. It seems that showers within hairdressers and barbershops may have maintained some hydropathic connection, with advertisers providing baths, cold, hot, shower and medicated vapour. Showers in hotels, however, were listed as home comforts rather than therapeutic devices. Siegfried Gideon, in his famous 1948 book, Mechanization Takes Command, a contribution to anonymous history, proposes that this connection between showers, bathrooms, and hotel rooms had a significant influence on the proliferation of private domestic showers and was the beginning of the democratization of the bathroom in the early 1900s. In the USA, in 1908, a compact bathroom was provided for every bedroom in one hotel, rather than the typical shared bathroom on each floor. And it was promoted with the catchphrase, "A room and a bath for $1.50," while the smaller rooms had a shower bath stall. Gideon argued that such hotel bathrooms, a cell and an appendage to the bedroom, available to everyone at slight cost, or approximately $25 in today's currency, was fundamental to the emergence of bathrooms within private dwellings. While hot water showers in hotel rooms would lead the way in making showers accessible to everyone, as they still do to some degree today, it would still take significant changes to make it possible for people to wash without the annoyances and discomforts of heating and carrying water, for the shower within the private dwelling to really proliferate. You might wonder why I chose to do my PhD about showers and whether a history of showers really matters. But what I am really interested in is how and why the typical shower unit, with a little tray that you step over and a wee box-shaped unit to stand in, became the dominant shower design in private dwellings. In my work as an occupational therapist, I've learned that this style of shower is very inconvenient for many people. Some people find them impossible to get into, and others find them very dangerous to stand in. They're far too small for anybody to help you in. So why is the shower the way it is? It's important to reveal the history of shower units in private homes since, as Langdon Winner in his 1980 article, "Do Artifacts Have Politics?" explained, once the structure of a technology becomes established, flexibility vanishes, and the politics of exclusion or inclusion that the object produces endures. He wrote, "Consciously or not, deliberately or inadvertently, societies choose structures for technologies that influence how people are going to work, communicate, travel, consume, and so forth over a very long time. In the process by which structuring designs are made, different people are differently situated and possess unequal degrees of power as well as unequal levels of awareness. By far, the greatest latitude of choice exists the very first time a particular instrument, system, or technique is introduced. Because choices tend to become strongly fixed in material equipment, economic investment, and social habit, The original flexibility vanishes for all practical purposes once the initial commitments are made. In that sense, technological innovations are similar to legislative acts or political foundings that establish a framework for public order that will endure over many generations. For that reason, the same careful attention one would give to the rules, roles, and relationships of politics must also be given to things such as the building of highways, the creation of television networks, and the tailoring of seemingly insignificant features on new machines. The issues that divide or unite people in society are settled not only in the institutions and practices of politics proper, but also, and less obviously, in tangible arrangements of steel and concrete, wires and transistors, nuts and bolts. One such technological innovation involves the government of water within urban developments. Who has control over water sources? Who maintains the dams and pipes that transport it? Who regulates its safety, perhaps adding chemicals to it or billing for its use? This demonstrates the politics of domestic water supply. Osborne, in his chapter Security and Vitality, Drains, Liberalism and Power in the 19th Century from Foucault and Political Reason, Liberalism, Neoliberalism and Rationalities of Government, writes about the emergence of water as a public health technology, namely the material presence of fast-flowing water in and through each private household. To establish an indirect state intervention in sanitation within the private home. Historically, carrying water was done by human and animal labour. Carrying water from a well to a household was once a paid job, even in large cities such as London. However, the invention of pipes, pumps and dams made this profession obsolete. In New Zealand, the Municipal Corporations Act of 1867 awarded local councils authority over public water supplies and gave them the power to assess the drainage of any house or building within their borough and demand that houses be connected to sewers at the homeowner's expense. Emerging at a time of liberal government, the state's interest in the flow of water ended at the door of the private dwelling at that time. I will talk about the state's involvement in the private dwelling further in episode 7. However, in relation to the government of water, the 1800s produced a naturalization in the space of the home as a domain sequestered from the direct impact of government. With water coming to the door of the dwelling by the mid to late 1800s, a market for private showers formed for those who could afford it. Patents for showers and shower baths, such as those illustrated in UK's J.H. Hopkins' Son, Wholesale Tin Platter Workers and Japanners, and the USA's Catalogue G, illustrating the plumbing and sanitary department of the J. Almont Iron Works, provided the possibility of showering in private bathrooms with hot and cold water. By the start of the 1900s, hygiene showers were materialising in the bathrooms of the wealthy in Aotearoa, New Zealand. At this time, private bathrooms and their fixtures were large, luxurious, and adorned to allow individualisation. However, the relatively low cost of the shower created the possibility of it being more widely available. For example, Grose's 1890 portable shower bath, a barrel filled with either cold or warm water, pumped by hand to an angled shower rose, was a fairly low-cost contraption that could reportedly be installed into family homes. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, Young's shower bath was patented in 1903 with the claim that it is now within the power of everyone to have a shower bath in his or her home. While various forms of shower were available, it is easy to forget the effort involved with heating water at this time. Heating water in institutions such as prisons, army barracks, and coal mines could be managed with large boilers. However, the labour involved in heating water for an individual showering at home made the idea questionable. During the late 1800s, water boilers for home use were emerging, using the waste of stovepipes and chimneys, various fuels such as kerosene or wood chips, or electricity where it was available. Such water heaters could be connected directly to a shower head. Many of these were still time-consuming and dirty. The Gegenstrom apparatus, described by Gerard in 1894, was a novel and ingenious form of hot water apparatus, distinguished from other showers of the time by instantly warming any quantity of water to any temperature. It was described, in comparison to other water heaters at the time, as being exceedingly economical, producing no bad smell, taste or noise, and being safe. This device needed a supply of steam, so was thought to have limited application in private dwellings. However, within a short time, similar devices were being patented and produced for use in private homes. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, an electric hot water storage system for continuous supply became particularly popular following its invention in 1909, as domestic electricity use was gaining popularity. As discussed in episode 2, the invention of shared shower rooms, public baths had been conceived as a way to stop the spread of disease, such as choleras, as the annoyances and discomforts felt by the working man especially of washing at home at that time meant it seemed worthwhile to create large, shared public bath and shower facilities. However, by the early 1900s, the comfort and convenience of an economical supply of hot water at home meant showering in private showers and private dwellings had become a possibility. At this point, we had the technology to bring water to the house via pipes rather than water carriers, and water heaters were developing. However, within private dwellings, we still needed to work out how to keep the water off the floor and draining away. At first, this problem was overcome by showers being installed over baths. A variety of shower bath designs emerged at this time, including needle or skeleton baths in which water sprayed out of pipes at various heights from a cage-like structure over a small bath. In 1908, the same year the room in the bath for $1.50 was promoted, the majority of baths in private houses in the US were full tub baths, with which an overhead shower or douche is often combined. However, Gerard proposed that it was possible to have a shower where tubs are entirely abolished in private houses, although he maintained that the shower without a bath was best suited to public spaces rather than private dwellings. This is Gerard's rain bath compartment. While it may look like a fairly typical shower to us now, in 1894, Gerard had to convince people that his new design of shower bath, where the bath had been shrunk down to what we would now call a shower tray, had advantages over ordinary baths. Gerard proposed that his novel rain bath compartment was superior to the usual form of bathtubs due to the reduced cost of construction and low running and maintenance expenses. He explained there was no time lost in emptying or cleaning after each use, and it took less time to wash. He claimed that the shower was more hygienic than the bath, since the body of a person using a rain bath does not come in contact with soiled water, and it was more stimulating and refreshing. Furthermore, it used less water to achieve cleanliness, provided greater privacy, could be used in winter or summer, and the danger of spreading disease was reduced. He noted that the angle of the shower head in his design was much more agreeable to the bather. They could stand erect and had control over whether or not the head was wetted. In terms of material development, the rain bath compartment design is an important rupture in the form of showers within the private dwelling. The idea of a shower as a single cell or compartment within a bath entirely abolished within a private dwelling was so novel that it would seem Gerard himself struggled to think if such a shift was thinkable. What would eventually be called a shower tray in the rain bath compartment was still considered a bath. However, it was now simply a recess in the floor, so small that one may only stand rather than recline and soak. Gerard did not see his invention as a replacement for showers over standard baths within private dwellings, and he maintained that shower baths were best in low-cost collective housing such as tenement buildings. I am firmly convinced, Gerard wrote, that the rain or spray bath offers many advantages for tenement houses. It is not necessary to provide each tenement with such a bath. The individual bathtubs should be abolished, and instead a few simple and inexpensive, clean and inviting spray baths should be erected in a well-lighted corner of a basement and kept under the control of a janitor. Despite Gerard's reservations, by the 1920s, the rain bath shower, now divorced from the bath, was no longer a novelty, and the shower, finally called the shower, materialized in private dwellings. Such shower units were a feature of the bathroom and a cheap investment in the material capital of the dwelling. In an article, A Return for Capital, in 1934, they claimed, "Modern electric and gas appliances play an important part in the convenience and comfort of the occupants of the house. Hot water services are cheap to install and most efficient and economical in operation. A separate shower box is possible at small expense in almost any bathroom. Any house can be so modernized that present objectionable features are eliminated and the property made a better place to live and more revenue producing." In the 1920s, the idea of home economics as a science and a practice was emerging. This was a shift away from ornate bathrooms of the wealthy as the idea to a rationale to simplify the paraphernalia of existence, to eliminate useless tasks and trappings, and to arrange the remaining necessities into an orderly scheme of household life. Macy, in 1923, employing a home economics discourse, suggested, "A shower may be built into a recess having a dished floor with a door or curtain hung to prevent water from splashing into the bathroom." However, the tray is distinguished from a bath in terms of economy, taking minimal amount of material to construct and capturing only a minimum amount of water for the briefest moments before draining away. While Gerard had included a seat within the shower, it was no longer seen as necessary within the private bathroom. As discussed in episode 2, shower rooms had been designed for use in collective spaces from the mid-1800s. However, it took over 50 years for the technological developments necessary for showering in a private dwelling to become sufficiently comfortable and convenient to be used by an individual at home. The rain shower, the shower of choice as an economical space for an upright individual body, shrunk the bath down to a small tray that needed to be stepped into and stood within. While showering was possible, historically houses did not have bathrooms. So how were we convinced that we should have bathrooms where showers could even be installed? How did they end up being in all houses and not just in the homes of the rich and famous? As I mentioned previously, the development of state involvement in bringing fast-flowing water to and from private dwellings was revolutionary, creating a water or hydraulic city. As Osborne stated, this hydraulic city would bring water to houses and flush it away like the arteries and veins of a single body. Hoagland in The Bathroom, A Social History of Cleanliness and the Body, explains how the profession of sanitary engineering came to connect water, engineering, and health at this time, which then led to the creation of state boards of health concerned with policing water quality and sewer gases. However, importantly, people's homes remained as a private domain at this time. While the city governors might insist that water come and go from the house, the limits of government, or how much of some responsibility the state has in the private space of the home and the private act of showering, was limited at this time. Although a liberal government of drains may have ended at the boundary of the private dwelling, an interest in population health and the activities of the population within the home remained. A discourse of sanitation encouraged enterprising property developers to connect the hydraulic city to the dwelling from the late 1800s. Plumbing or sanitary engineering texts appeared in the late 1800s to promote the possibilities and limit the dangers of running water through a house. While these texts were typically directed towards plumbers, Mrs. H. M. Plunkett's 1884 text, Women, Plumbers and Doctors, or Household Sanitation, extended the discourse to include women. Within Plunkett's manual, sanitation connected proper plumbing to gains in property value and in personal health and strength, while inadequate plumbing was associated with the dangers of numerous diseases. Sanitary engineers induced the homeowner to invest in plumbing. Plunkett proposed that women, whose destiny it is to remain a large share of the time at home, and whose divinely appointed mission it is to guide the house, meant they had a greater interest in preventative medicine and household hygiene. Their family and the entire nation depended on their knowledge of sanitation and its connection to household plumbing. Mrs. Plunkett wrote, "More than 4 years ago, Dr. B. W. Richardson, President of the British Medical Association, said, 'I want strongly to enforce that it is the women on whom full sanitary light requires to fall. Health in the home is health everywhere. Elsewhere it has no abiding place. I have been brought, indeed, by experience to the conclusion that the whole future progress of the sanitary movement rests for permanent and executive support on the women of the country.' As a devoted wife and mother, they had a duty to be involved in house hunting and thus be informed of the necessities of a properly plumbed house. This included a separate watertight bathroom. Sanitary engineers advocated for a separate room for sanitary fixtures that they called the bathroom to prevent contamination of the dwelling with noxious gases and germs. Barbara Penner, who has written a fascinating book, Bathroom, and an article titled The Flexible Heart of the Home, explains that sanitary fixtures and regulated internal plumbing resulted in radical redesign of the architecture of dwellings to include a separate, dedicated bathroom. The connection between health, clean water, and an investment in household plumbing produced an inducement for homeowners to freely choose to install a bathroom without any government authority insisting on it. The private bathroom, connected to the hydraulic city, illustrates what Osborne identified as a strategy of indirect government, that is, of inducing cleanliness and hence good moral habits, not through discipline, but simply through the material presence of fast-flowing water in and through each private household. However, increasing concerns regarding the dangers of the poor spreading disease and moral disorder meant that the idea of showering within private dwellings eventually extended beyond the bathrooms of enterprising homeowners. While the hygiene of the working class had initially been connected to concerns regarding contagious disease resulting in the provision of public baths, concerns regarding sex connected showers to the private bathrooms of the poor. Foucault, in his book The History of Sexuality, Volume 1, argued that from the 1700s, architecture emerged to operate on the sexuality of the poor, largely based on the assumption that this sexuality existed, that it was precocious, active, and ever-present. It is linked to middle and upper class worries that the right type of people might not be breeding enough, while the less desirable might be breeding too much. In New Zealand, this politics of housing and the government of sex is evident in the provision of houses within bathrooms via the 1905 Workers' Dwellings Act. Workers' dwellings built to the government specifications were for landless, low-income earners who could own the property after paying off all associated costs, including land, surveys, subdivision and roading, provided they lived in it and maintained it in good order to the satisfaction of the land board. As an example of biopolitical smoothing of liberal government, the Act was intended to reduce the cost of living for the worker without burdening the capitalist with the need to pay higher wages. As a therapeutic operator, a comfortable and convenient family home was thought to improve the morals of the working class, enticing the worker to remain at home with his wife and family rather than seeking enjoyment and pleasure from less savoury establishments. Richard Seddon, New Zealand's Prime Minister at the time, stated, "I think that from another standpoint we may consider the position of the worker under this bill from a health standpoint. The more ventilation there is in a dwelling and the more comfort a man has in his home, the better work he is able to do and the more content he is. Under comfortable circumstances, a man has an inducement to remain at home. I would say to the member for Wellington City, Mr. Aitken, and others who often speak of men seeking pleasures away from their own homes of an evening, that if you give them comfortable homes where they may enjoy themselves with their wives and families, it is a good thing to do." In addition to the smoothing the harsh effects of capitalism, the idea that the sexuality of the working class is precocious, active, and ever-present justifies the state's involvement in providing a comfortable home that the worker may enjoy with his wife and family. Alongside ensuring that workers returned home to their wives rather than seeking pleasures elsewhere, Seddon argued that proper sanitation and the provision of bathrooms in workers' dwellings would save lives. I should like to ask how many there are of these homes where the workmen have a bathroom. A very small percentage have a bathroom in their homes for use of themselves and family. And I say it is almost indispensable to their health that there should be bathrooms attached to their homes. In regard to the erection of tenements for workers, I would make it a standing law that no house should be allowed to be occupied unless it had its bath and bathroom and proper sanitation arrangements. I believe we could save a good many lives if that were stipulated. These workers' dwellings were required to have bathrooms. However, this was considered by some to be an extravagance. Providing shower baths was held up as the extreme of such. The suggestion of communal bathrooms was, however, fairly quickly dismissed with the comment, "Communism." Bathrooms were seen as an unnecessary extravagance for workers in 1905. However, by the 1930s, they would be established as an essential feature of a sanitary home. Isaac and Olson, in their chapter of Brooks's At Home in New Zealand, Houses, History, People, examined Seddon's Labour government housing scheme, discussing the discourse of the slum and outlining how disease, particularly the influenza epidemic of 1919, town planning and state housing emerged in Aotearoa, New Zealand. They explain how concerns with the health of the population were connected at this time to water and electricity supply, overcrowding and sanitation of private dwellings. The Great Depression highlighted the problem of housing for the economic health of the nation, and in 1937 the state conducted extensive housing surveys which aimed to identify the condition of the nation's dwellings, in particular those that should be demolished in the name of health. These surveys closely connected the presence of a bathroom and bathing facilities to favourable private dwellings. 80% of dwellings where repair was deemed impractical and therefore should be demolished had no bathroom, while 95% of satisfactory houses did. In 1945, disease, this time tuberculosis, continued to connect the state to the government of dwellings. In addition to concerns regarding disease, the idea of the nation's duty to provide dwellings for returning soldiers and the growing view that dwellings should have modern amenities, including hot water and bathing facilities, promoted further debate about the role of the state in governing private dwellings. The Housing Improvement Act of 1945 and the associated improvement regulations required all dwellings, existing and new, to contain a bathroom and an approved shower or bath. The state had now extended the reach of the hydraulic city into private homes, and state security in Aotearoa, New Zealand was, from that time, connected to the presence of a shower or bath within all private dwellings. While the regulations stipulated either a shower or a bath, the following year, problems with importing raw materials needed to make enamel baths and the high cost of imported baths tipped the shower into favour. State-funded houses that had been built and which were otherwise ready to be tenanted could not be occupied due to a shortage of baths. Installation of a shower room instead of a bathroom could, however, make such dwellings inhabitable. By the 1970s, showers were being marketed as a feature of low-cost dwellings, and a definite trend for showers in Aotearoa, New Zealand was established, helped in part by the local invention of a low-pressure shower head mixer combination, the Felton mix, which is still in production today. Discourses connecting the state, workers, and bathrooms within private dwellings were possible within a biopolitical governmentality, which is concerned with creating a milieu in which the health of the worker and his family was made more favourable through an extension of the hydraulic city into the private dwelling. Sanitation of the properly plumbed house, the worker's sexuality, and the production of separate baths or shower rooms within dwellings of the population ensured the security of the nation. While the state may have been able to insist that dwellings have a shower within the private home, the population are dispersed and hidden from disciplining technologies that may march soldiers into the shower room. So, what then actually compelled us to choose to shower? In the early 1900s, experts emerged to promote the idea of hygiene as an essential everyday activity to promote health. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, in 1923, Health Week experts advised the public that they must take responsibility for their own health. They advised that healthy habits needed to become part of daily living to have an effect. Health Week will remind you of what personal hygiene means. But personal hygiene must be a habit, not a mere spasmodic occurrence, synchronizing with a temporary outburst of good resolve. Physicians advocated for self-imposed discipline that would, as Breskin, a Prussian army doctor discussed in episode 2, had hoped, produce the habit of regular bathing to promote health. As such, daily bathing or showering, if possible, was advised. The Health Commandments by Dr. Thomas Darlington, former Commissioner of Health of New York City, recommended 1. Keep your mouth closed when breathing, also when angry. Drink cold water with your meals, also between meals. 3. Bathe daily, a shower if possible. As this example illustrates, advice regarding personal health management is similar to what Foucault calls anatomo-political discipline. The focus is on daily conduct. Bathe daily, shower if possible, and the body is an object that can be surveilled to identify merits and faults. Dr. Darlington advises, neglect no portion of the body. Employ a physician to examine you at regular intervals and so watch for the beginnings of disease and build-up of resistance, and pay some attention to his opinion and direction. However, the individual is no longer under the gaze of the physician, prison guard, attendant, or comrade, as they were in the psychiatrist's fall of water or communal shower discussed in episodes 1 and 2. The individual is instead self-policing and only seeking the counsel of the physician to periodically surveil the body and provide his opinion and direction. Martin and Waring, in their article Realizing Governmentality, Pastoral Power, Government Discourse, and the Reconstitution of Subjectivities, argued that discourses connect free, rational citizens to state interests through something Foucault called pastoral power. Pastoral power helps to shape us into particular types of people, subjectivities that align with more distant government aims. Quoting Foucault, they state that pastoral power is distinctive in the way it attends to well-being and moral propriety of both individuals and communities simultaneously, and thus offers a tricky combination in the same political structures of individualizing techniques and of totalization procedures. Experts employ discourses to shepherd the choices that the good, responsible subject should make, thus connecting the free choices of individuals to the interests of the nation. This pastoral power is defined in part by the fact that this teaching must be a direction of daily conduct. Discipline of the subject becomes discipline by the ethical subject, extending the conduct of conduct into the unseen or private lives of citizens. Ensuring that one has a properly plumbed house becomes the right choice for the citizen concerned with health. A personal hygiene discourse then connects free citizens to an apparatus of health in which expert advice conducts the conduct of those willing and able to invest in their health through showering. The general health and hygiene benefits of private domestic showers were promoted in the early 1900s. A healing portable shower bath, invented in Aotearoa, New Zealand for domestic use, claims a range of health-giving benefits from daily showering. Daily use of the shower is described in an investment in vitality, bringing forth fresh skins and complexions and a healthy body that is strong and able to resist penetration from the environment, hot, cold, or disease. In addition to the health benefits of this shower, the designers promoted as being economical, free of the elaborate designs of showers of the past, thus making showering, in the eyes of the advertisers, possible to everyone. It was not only advertisers, however, that were promoting the benefits of showering. Scientists at this time had also reconnected the therapeutic operations of water to blood vessels and nerves that psychiatrists of the 1800s had proposed. They deemed the shower to be at least as important for neurovascular training and physical and mental refreshment as for washing the skin. They also claimed evidence that showers created a superior nation, positing that the poor bathing habits of Russians at that time, compared to the plentiful bathing facilities of the Japanese, attested to the fact that frequent washing was connected to the superiority of bathing nations and their great military and commercial achievement. While showering may be connected to vitality, a healthy body, and a successful nation, a particular association with skin remained. Ward, in his book, The Clean Body, A Modern History, outlined how, for women, washing the skin was particularly connected to appearance. He states, marketing campaigns often depicted women as romantic or erotic objects, sensuous or languid when they weren't coitish or alluring, and emphasized soap's benefits for beauty's major assets, the complexion. Daily showering provided an opportunity to use soap, producing skin free of blemishes and luxurious hair for women. While showering was associated with beauty, as I mentioned in episode 2 in relation to the Army's beauty shops, showering also had a particular connection to strength. Prior to, and somewhat continuing into the 1920s, the idea of women as the weaker sex being unable to tolerate the shock of cold water could mean it was not advisable for them to use the cold water douche. However, strong, upright women who participated in outdoor sports could benefit from washing in the shower to cool, soothe, and heal their sunburnt skin. In addition to being suitable for strong women, the shower was promoted as being able to produce strong women. Young's patent portable shower bath meant the shower was no longer just for those with a strong constitution. It was suitable for even the weak woman. While the cold shower may be too much of a shock for the delicate, the tepid shower was suitable for the weak woman's body and was proposed to even make it strong. Delicate women find the occasional tepid shower bath strengthening and refreshing. Not only was Young's shower suitable even for women, but it was for use in any room and could be made to any temperature. Young's patent shower was a vastly different character to the fall of water for women who would not sleep with their husbands, discussed in episode 1. It was the antithesis of cold shock and breaking of wills. Rather than the showeree being subjected to the shower, they are the showerer in control of the temperature and duration of the fall of water. While showers could benefit women by making them strong, showers could make either gender more desirable. The need to shower was connected to men keeping their job by eliminating body odour, as this story of the husband who always got sacked tells. Showering was proposed to be an efficient way for working women to maintain beauty. A quick shower could be part of a 20-minute beauty regime, suitable for those with no particular deficits. Showering could prevent BO, a newly invented term for body odour. This was then connected to success in sexual pursuits for men. They won't give you the brush off if you don't give them the body odour. Showering was also proposed to lead to marriage for women. Flatmates could manipulate each other into showering so that they would be more attractive and thus get engaged. Showering, with Guardian soap in particular, was promoted as a possibility even for country folk who lived far away from the conveniences of urban civilization. A shower with Guardian soap is the finest way to start a day, even out on the range. The shower, showering, and shower products were thus an investment in personal capital, a way to make the body more attractive and to be fresher, visually, olfactorily, and productively, a way to distinguish the strong, healthy, modern, civilized, and sexually fit from the rest of the population. As Ward explained, in order to attain full membership in society, one must look, smell, and be clean. And in order to do so, one had to buy and use the products that promised cleanliness. In the first half of the 1900s, the reinvention of the clean body as a commodity was unfolding everywhere in the Western world. While those marketing their showers and soaps might have sought to induce all of the population to shower to increase sales, these discourses are also working to shape us into a particular type of person. Research using Foucault's ideas shows us how the activities of the human and non-human subjects produce a particular type of favourable citizen, a subject who is aligned with more distant governing interests. Foucault described how, from the middle of the 17th century, health, sex and race were used by the middle class to distinguish themselves from the working class. Works, published in great numbers at the end of the 18th century on body hygiene, etc., attest to the correlation of this concern between the body and sex to a type of racism. Within shower advertising, this mentality was deployed to create an element of competition to induce those who can to shower. Those who cannot remain dirty, unhealthy, smelly, unrefined, and not worth reproducing with. Although appealing to individuals to shower so that they may have sexual intercourse may seem distant from a governmentality that aims to produce and maintain a middle class, Foucault pointed out that revealing these connections shows that we are often oblivious to the history that would help us to understand why we do what we do. We are at the heart of the problematic of the invisible hand, the kind of bizarre mechanism which makes Homo economicus function as an individual subject of interest within a totality which eludes him and with which nevertheless founds the rationality of his egoistic choices. A footnote. As I'm aware, these ideas sound a lot like the territory of conspiracy theorists. However, the work of Foucault is quite different. It requires us to diligently search the archives in order to reveal the discourses that our current practices are contingent on. It is not seeking hidden meanings, symbols, or sinister organisations that sit outside of accepted truths, nor does it make a claim to truth. Rather, it aims to show how truth is constructed, contested, and employed to have effect. It is work that reveals the substance of historically constructed everyday practices, such as the simple act of showering, that produce and maintain our social order. Given that, for those who are interested in the power of state, I would highly recommend reading Foucault to help articulate the concerns that many of us have regarding the effects of the strategies of government. Ideas such as biopolitics, discipline, neoliberalism, the dispositive, rights, the family, economics, and sexuality can help us understand and articulate our concerns. I can recommend Kendall and Wickham's Using Foucault's Methods, and Rabineau and Rose's The Essential Foucault as a starting point. Let us return now to showering. In the mid-1900s, showering came to be understood as an investment in health, and health is capital. An environment is fostered in which hygiene becomes personal capital and showering produces winners in the competition to find a mate. A discourse of hygiene connects the act of showering to produce a strong, attractive body, which induces subjects to make showering an everyday, essential activity. To be a showering subject is to be an accepted member of society who is able to compete with others to obtain, maintain, and further reproduce capital. The showers of collective, confined spaces, such as the army camps discussed in episode 2, are designed to make the showeree visible and subject to external discipline. Within the private dwelling, such external monitoring is absent, although technology such as Google's non-invasive health monitoring bathroom is developing that could make this possible. Without external discipline, governmentalities that induce individuals to police themselves are central to the emergence of showering as an everyday essential activity in one's own home. Advertisements appeal to an individual entrepreneur who can compete for advantage through investing in their personal hygiene. The idea of daily showering as an essential activity produces the body as an object that is seen and smelt by others. While the act of showering in a private dwelling may not be visible, the body reveals those who are unsanitary and unhygienic. A failure to shower will make a subject visible via their unhealthy complexion, hair, and smell, resulting in rejection from society. This connection between showering and desirability suggests that biopolitical normalization, a governmentality that aims to standardize us, and in contrast, biopolitical disableism is also in effect. If you can't shower because you can't stand and step into the shower unit, you face rejection from society. 100 years ago, houses with bathrooms containing showers were a rarity. Showering was not an everyday activity. For most, it was not even an occasional activity. During that 100 years, ideas regarding sanitation and hygiene produced government regulation requiring us to have bathrooms and turned us into a population that feels compelled to shower. We choose to invest time and money in showering or face rejection. However, the common shower unit, an economical shower bath invented in the late 1800s, is only suitable for those who can stand and step. In the next episode, I explore how eugenics separated those who were not able to stand and step into a shower from private dwellings, and how the showers of the institutions that such people lived in became the workplace of those who showered them.